Charles to have got anywhere near that one. This field as well, as you look apart, across, it has got a few different canals and slopes to it. We all notice throughout the day as well. Some parts of the ground you just see the ball absolutely fly. At other times it does hold up because there are a few quirks to it, little slopes.
Yeah, for young Charlie Tier, just battling a little bit, isn't he, for form? I thought he looked out of touch. He also missed one of the games there in the Netherlands. I think he was down with an illness in the first game. Might have been tonsillitis, but he'll be pleased with his start. He's got to 10 off 9, scores of 27, 0, 19 and 12. And he hasn't been able to find a way into that main Sussex side, has he? He's been playing a little bit of second 11 cricket down there.
He has, and he's had a couple of scores in the 40s in recent games. He was playing in the last few weeks and keeping as well for their second 11 side, but maybe getting those couple of scores in the 40s might have just given him a little bit of a boost in the confidence.
I think it was tonsillitis he went down with in the Netherlands. Never a nice one. Nicely bowled, good skills from Ridge and Dackle. I think this is what has impressed Stuart Law. Movement both ways, that one just holding its line.
It's actually Charlie T's birthday next week. It's 21 again. No, it's me who's always 21 again. He's 21 for the first time.
Don't tell me he's only 20. He can't.
Yep.
That means he was born in what, 2004?
Don't.
Oh, God. Shouldn't be allowed to be born after the millennium, I think. There's a view of some of the gathered Nepal fans. Really good atmosphere building up. It's not warm, I won't lie. It's probably 13, maybe 14 degrees at best. It's more than a touch chilly. That one's driven beautifully, but he cannot beat Kushal Bertel. This is a fine Nepalese fielding side. They are outstanding in what they do, and they look energised and rejuvenated under the new head coach, Stuart Law. That's an excellent stop, 4 runs saved. End of the 5th, 32 for 1. Smell, one more piece of guidance through this points table. It is the top 4 that will qualify automatically for the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup qualifier in 2027. And the great news is, of course, we return to 14 teams for the main World Cup in 2027. That'll be co-hosted by South Africa, Zimbabwe and Namibia. South Africa and Zimbabwe is the full member co-host. They qualify automatically. Namibia will have to do it the tough way. They'll have to qualify, and looking at how they're going, they may need to go through that qualifier playoff. Pierre de Bruin has taken his curtain call. He is departed as the head coach of Namibia. Great appointment for them, their new head coach, Mel. Don't know if you saw that. Craig Williams is coming in, the former Namibian, batting all-rounder, and I think he should be a really good appointment.
Yeah, there's a couple of new coaches coming around in the association. You mentioned Stuart Law here now has taken over as a Nepal coach as well, and yes, you look at what he did with the US. I thought he did a fantastic job walking into that role and ahead of that T20 World Cup last year. You just often find with teams in the doldrums, sometimes a freshen up is what they need.
It's not just Stuart Law that's come in, giving us a wide after a long thought from Ghazi Sale, just teasing the crowd.
That's what I like to call the distraction appeal. If we all appeal, maybe the umpire will forget that it was a wide.
Yeah, it might have been close to the thigh pad, but giving us a wide ultimately. Yeah, not just Stuart Law, but also Craig Williams, like I said, and then probably most interestingly, the return of Pupadu Dasanayake to the United States. He's now coached 4 of the sides in this ICC Men's Cricket World Cup League 2, and with 3 of them he's had 2 stints. Canada twice, Nepal twice, and now for the second time in his career he goes back to the United States of America.
Right.
Definitely a good appointment for them, you would imagine, and something that I'd imagine some Nepal fans are looking on and going, oh, the associate maestro is back to USA. That's probably why they're going to be in and around the top of the table at the end of this cycle.
Wow, it's a bit of a revolving door sort of situation, isn't it? In and out, and then you're back in and around again. What it does mean is that there's no secrets as far as what each of the teams' strengths are and also what their weaknesses are. So I'm sure he'll be using that to full advantage.
Lovely to see such a good crowd gathered in the background. Expecting 600-700, something like that, maybe a few more. And there is... Well, Ted's Shed hasn't opened yet. You might wonder what Ted's Shed is.
Oh, Ted's Shed. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, we might explain what that is, Mel, because otherwise people will think we're off on a ramble somewhere.
It's this little hut opposite us where I think that just serve various refreshments, and it's got a black sign with yellow writing on it, and it's called Ted's Shed. It's just a real little focal point of this lovely ground. By the way, your internal thermometer is quite good because I just checked, it's 14 degrees.
Feels a bit more like 4 right now, as that will be Kushal Bertel who does the fielding. It'll be fascinating to see how much he's used. Both Bertel and Dipender Singh Airi throwing with their left arm, showing how ambidextrous and multi-talented they are. There's so many bowling options, isn't there, for Nepal? Dipender Singh Airi's off breaks are often incredibly effective and hugely economical. Kushal Bertel was in wicket-taking form. Nepal were unbeaten on their games down in the United Kingdom before they came across the border up to Scotland. But all the games down in England they won, kind of against a variety of oppositions. Some county second 11s, the MCC they played once in Herefordshire. And they were also taking on a Cardiff University 11, ironically a side that I used to play for 20 years ago. Things going a bit full circle.
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah. I did have a chuckle when I saw them playing against it was the what was then known as the University Cricketing Centre of Excellence, the UCCE. So yeah, played 3 seasons at Sophia Gardens. 12th man for the first class games. Never got on.
But at the other games you play, I have absolutely no doubt that you are a terrifying Irish leg spinning demon.
I don't think anyone ever described any of my cricket as terrifying. I think possibly hugely entertaining. Opposite of terrifying. Always played cricket like Nepal do, with a big smile on my face, just like Dipender Singh Airi has.
Yeah.
I want him to take his cap off. You've got to see this new hairstyle. I think you're going to like it.
By the way, I'm not saying terrifying as in you as a personality. I'm talking about how much your leg spin bamboozled opponents to the point they were afraid to sleep at night.
It certainly turned a terrifying amount. The problem was it didn't pitch too often. You've got to land it to turn it, don't you? That's the challenge. Yeah, it was always entertaining, I promise you that much. Definitely a lot of fun. You cannot get anything better than playing our great sport. As KC works us into the offside, Powell will do the fielding. Nepal have just settled, haven't they, after a bit of a blitz from George Munsey to start things. And they're getting into their work now. 6 have been bowled, it's 37 for 1. So Rijan Dakal will continue into his 4th over. Tell us a bit more about Stuart Law. I know he's someone that you know a little bit about from times all around the world, but obviously both Australian. He's got huge English connections too, doesn't he? Because it wasn't just from a playing perspective where he spent so much time, predominantly in Lancashire, wasn't it, where he played a lot of his county cricket. But he actually lives now in the UK, doesn't he? His family is up here.
Yeah, he has moved over here. I think he was understandably disappointed that he ended up leaving the US. I spoke to him a bit during that tournament, and he was all in on his commitment to the US and a firm believer in it being, I guess, you know, the promised land that it's been talked about, and the potential of cricket over there to expand beyond the diaspora from the Asian countries, go a lot further. So I think he was a bit disappointed.
Hooked away and hooked all the way. What an extraordinary stroke. It was almost a ducking hook shot. It was quite a well delivered short ball that got right up towards the shoulder, even the neck of Charlie Tier, and maybe not in the way he initially intended. He's managed to get it all the way for 6.
That really was an extraordinary shot, and I can't remember ever seeing Charlie Tier play anything quite like that before. It's absolutely incredible. Fast hands, absolutely whipped them through that ball.
I think he's been surprised by the short ball. He was trying to come down, wasn't he? He was trying to kind of advance at Ridjan Dakal because there isn't a huge amount of pace on offer from the youngster. Dakal responded by digging it into the turf, and Tier kind of at the last second decided to pull out the hook shot, which ended up being incredibly effective. Yes, Stuart Law's time in the States probably ended much more prematurely than he would have liked, and many fans would have expected, because he had such an amazing start to his time there. A 4-0 series win over Canada, the historic first ever series win over a full member when they beat Bangladesh 2-1 in Texas, and then that Super 8 run, very nearly winning a couple of Super 8 games on top of it.
Yeah, it was incredible. And look, he's got a lot of experience with full member nations coaching as well, involved around Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, and of course in Australia. So he does bring a wealth of experience with him, just of different styles of cricket around the world as well, and in different conditions. So he's taken on Nepal at a tricky time for them. Desperately needed to get some wins. But all those fans that are here, that is absolutely brilliant to see. 14 degrees, we said. But I think they look tougher than Andrew Lennon to my left.
Yeah, I think that when the sun's out, it's okay. It's just when that sun is not out, it's more than a bit chilly. We're very close to the sea here. This is whipped into the leg side, whip for 4. A good stroke, really nicely played. And Tier is playing much more aggressively than he did in those ODIs in Netherlands, where he looked like he was battling for form. He's off to a good start.
I actually really like this from Charlie Tier, in that George Munsey being out earlier, I mentioned Brandon McMullen's flamingo flick. Well, there's a little one for his batting partner out there. Very nice it is too. But yes, to see him maybe try and he's taking on the leadership role, I guess, in the partnership at the moment.
That's Finlay McCreath's father there in the crowd. Finlay McCreath, who made his ODI debut for Scotland on that tour of the Netherlands, showed in patches what he could be capable of, a couple of 30s. That one's driven gorgeously. Oh, so elegant from Charlie Tier. The 50 comes up in grand style. Dakal's proved very expensive in his 4 overs thus far, and may well need to be whipped out of the attack, you'd suspect, despite getting that big wicket of George Munsey. It's 51 for 1.
Yeah, this is lovely stuff from Charlie Tier after George Munsey was out earlier, and Munsey naturally the most aggressive in their opening partnership whenever they played together. And he's just spent a bit of time rebuilding with Brandon McMullen out there, but now just seeing him unfurl some lovely shots. I mean, that is tremendous.
I think that shot there is a great example of why the hybrid surfaces can be very good to bat on. It's actually a pretty good length delivery, but it just skids on into the perfect driving arc of Charlie Tier. I wonder will we have a change of ends here for Karen KC. Sampal Kami's going to come into the attack, and I wonder, does that mean, Mel, that we'll have Ridjan Dakal taken out of the attack and maybe Karen KC continue his spell from the other end of the ground? One of the reasons for that, well, I suppose the wind's actually going to aid Kami's away swing from here could go to Gulshan Jar, or they could get spin into the game early too.
It's a little bit unusual in some ways to see Brandon McMullen 10 off 17, very much behind Charlie Tier in the strike rate. But 20-year-old is certainly looking very confident at the moment. It surprised me to see McMullen catch up though. He's a really lovely player. Just opens the face of his bat. Happy to settle for the 1 run. Because of George Munsey's cameo of fireworks early on, and the rate that Charlie Tier is scoring at, that a healthy run rate early on, almost touching 7. Nicely flicked, but there is protection out there. I think that Lenny might have been trying to find out what the ends are. You know, I did look up the ends here, and it says there are no official ones, and I was trying to remember. I think we chose our own last time, because the end to our left, that's where the Tay is.
The River Tay end,
The River
is
Tay.
it?
So, yeah, so let's name it the River Tay end. And I think last year we called that the pavilion end, because there's a little bit of a pavilion.
Yeah, also the nursery road up there. I think River Tay is better.
The River Tay end.
Better sort of ring
Yeah.
to it. Let us know if you're watching on at home.
Well,
Lovely length from Cami. He beats the drive of McMullen, who's just taking a little while to get going. Really good start from Sampal Cami. What a great servant he has been to cricket in Nepal. It's 53 for 1. Get one more look at the two teams. You're very welcome along to today's coverage. Andrew Leonard here alongside Mel Farrell. We'll be with you for all of these ODIs. There is the Scottish 11 in likely batting order. I suspect we'll see Richie Barrington in next. Finlay McCreath at 5. Matthew Cross has found a bit of form at 6. Michael Leask, fresh off a very difficult tour for himself in the Netherlands, where he just couldn't get anything going. And Mark Watt and the bowlers after that. And for Nepal, as we do see Karen KC change ends, there is the starting 11. So many bowling options. Going to be interesting to see how much Gulshan Jha is used, and also when Sandeep Lamachani and indeed Dipendra Singh Ari and Kushal Bertel, and maybe even the skipper Rohit Paudel are utilised. It's really, in this team, I didn't even mention Arif Sheikh there, it's just Bim Sharkey, who I know some Nepal fans will tell me that he can bowl, but he's not going to bowl today, I can promise you that. Outside of that, everyone else out there, with the exception of Asif Sheikh, the keeper, could bowl, and it's remarkable the number of options that Rohit Paudel has. Possibly 9 bowling options today.
sometimes I wonder if that can almost be a hindrance for a captain when they've got so many bowling options. You always say it's a good thing to have, but I mean, he's so experienced, so he's never going to get, I don't think, muddled by that. But sometimes you do see that with captains where they've got so many options, it almost becomes almost provides a bit of a headache in a way